I think you can know. You can let me know when I can start, or I start. Hare Krishna, Shyamchandra Prabhu, Vidya Mataji, Malti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavad Pranam.
Krishna. I can
Dandavad.
see few names, but I can just see these on the Zoom. So forgive me if I can't see everyone. Thank you, Mataji, for joining as well. We'll get started now with the Bhakti Sastri class, and we'll do chapter 17 today. But before we start, I'll take a moment to offer Mangalacharan prayers, and we can get started. And thank you again for joining. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Vancha kalpataru bhayascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, we completed the 16th chapter last time, and in the 16th chapter, verse number 23, Krishna mentions that he who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims neither attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. In the previous chapter, the divine and the demoniac are mentioned. The divine are those who have faith in Krishna or the scriptures, and the demoniac are those who do not have any faith in scriptures or who act against the scriptural injunctions. So the 17th chapter is an interesting mix of both, and we can discuss 17th chapter, the first verse. Akhil, whenever you can project on the screen, I'm fine with that. Thank you. Kindly repeat after me. Arjuna Uvacha Ye Shastra Vidimutsrijya Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha Tesham Nishtatu Ka Krishna Sattvam Aho Rajastamaha. Satvat translation, please. You have a mic right in front of, right there, right there. The mic is right there.
Hare Krishna. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance?
Thank you. Can we increase the screen a little bit if possible? What do you think? Only if possible. It's okay if you cannot, that's fine. But it's fine. Purport. In the 4th chapter, 39th verse, it is said that a person faithful to a particular type of worship gradually becomes elevated to the stage of knowledge and attains the highest perfectional stage of peace and prosperity. In the 16th chapter, it is concluded that one who does not follow the principles laid down in the scriptures is called an asura or demon, and one who follows the scriptural injunctions faithfully is called deva or demigod. Now, if one with faith follows some rules which are not mentioned in the scriptural injunctions, what is this position? This is the doubt of Arjuna. This doubt of Arjuna is to be cleared by Krishna. Are those who create some sort of God by selecting a human being and placing their faith in him, worshipping in goodness, passion, or ignorance? Do such persons attain perfectional stage of life? Is it possible for them to be situated in the real knowledge and elevate themselves to the highest perfectional stage? Do those who follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but who have faith in something and worship gods and demigods, and men attain success in their effort? Arjuna is putting these questions to Krishna. Purport, I was just reading the purport of the first verse. Thank you. So if you can see, come down a little bit. This is one of the purports, unique purports of Srila Prabhupada, where I have seen the maximum number of questions. If he asks more and more and more questions just to set the stage of this chapter. And it's an amazing chapter because it is real. Like everybody has some sort of God or demigod, some sort of great personality that one wants to worship in this world. And Arjuna is asking the question that if I create some sort of God, then, or if a person creates some sort of God or not worships according to any scriptural injunctions, but has some sort of faith. It's a very fascinating chapter. We can go online probably now for reading. Actually, you have the mic or to do the second verse translation? If not, then we can go online. Online is better? Yeah, I agree. So we can go online for the second verse, please. Thank you. Text 2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Trivida Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sasvabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrinu.
Oh. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, According to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now, hear about this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 3. Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata
Shraddha bhavati bharata.
Shraddhamayoyam purusho
Shraddha mayoyam purusho.
yo yachshraddha sa eva saha.
Yo yakshraddha sa eva cha.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Shyamchandra Das.
Please.
O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Next, Saurabh Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is a beautiful, beautiful verse where Krishna says, Shraddho Mayam Purushaha, that everybody has faith in this world. Now, I might say, I am a person of rational thought. I am a person of scientific thought. But the fact of the matter is, you have certain faith. And please imagine, if I don't have any faith, then I can never learn. If I go to the school and my teacher says that if you break open an atom, what do you get? If you split an atom, 3 types of particles you get, which are? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now I say to the teacher, prove it to me. I have no faith in your words. Can the student ever learn? The same way Krishna is saying you have faith. Everybody is born of certain faith, and it is the question of how the faith is acquired with the modes of material nature. Because without faith, you can never move in this world. A child has a faith that the parents will protect. An employee has the faith that the employer will pay him. Even if you want to cross a red light, you know when the walk signal is on, you have a reasonable guarantee. Of course, there is no guarantee, but reasonable guarantee that you can walk safely, yes or yes. If you don't have faith in the walk sign, then you'll just not cross the street at all. So you have faith, but the faith is so implicit that you hardly think about it. But every person is a man of faith or a person of faith in this world. And Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 3 kinds of faith based on the 3 modes of material nature. Hare Krishna, Avanish. All right. I think just verse number 3, Akhil Prabhu, we can just do the last paragraph because Srila Prabhupada, it's very important that we get this. I'll do that particular paragraph and please carefully listen to it. The word Shraddha or faith is very significant in this verse. Shraddha or faith originally comes out of the mode of goodness. One's faith may be in a demigod or some created god or some mental concoction. One's strong faith is supposed to be productive of works of material goodness. But in the material condition of life, no works are completely purified. They are mixed. They are not in pure goodness. Pure goodness is transcendental. In purified goodness, one can understand the real nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as one's faith is not completely in purified goodness, the faith is subject to contamination by any modes of the material nature. The contaminated modes of material nature expand into the heart. Therefore, according to the position of the heart in contact with a particular mode of material nature, one's faith is established. It is to be understood that if one's heart is in the mode of goodness, his faith is also in the mode of goodness. If the heart is in the mode of passion, his faith is also in the mode of passion. And if his heart in the mode of darkness, illusion, his faith is also thus contaminated. Thus we find different kinds of faith, different types of faith in this world, and there are different types of religions due to different types of faith. I'll read that again. Thus we find different types of faith in this world, and there are different types of religions due to different types of faith. The real principle of religious faith is situated in the mode of pure goodness, but because the heart is tainted, we find different types of religious principles. Thus, according to different types of faith, there are different kinds of worship. Make sense? So, as long as you are in this material world, and as we mentioned earlier, the jiva is conditioned by the modes of material nature. When a jiva is born into this world, then the jiva is conditioned. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, they are either predominant or they are competing for the jiva's attention. And based on the modes that we associate with, we develop a particular type of faith. When you develop a particular type of faith, then you develop a particular type of worship that goes with faith. The implicit is, no matter what faith you are in, you will worship someone. If you are in the mode of ignorance, for example, let's take a very gross example. If you are really addicted to some sort of intoxication and you cannot live without it, then you have to worship the person who sells you that kind of substance. Or you really have to placate, please. If you are in the mode of passion, then you worship a very powerful businessman or having a very wealthy man who can actually give you money or supply funds to your business, whatever. And if you are in the mode of goodness, you worship demigods, saying that I need to go to higher planets. But if you are in Krishna consciousness, then your faith, it becomes transcendental. Krishna, here Prabhupada is saying, the faith is in the pure goodness. Sattva is the mode of what? Sattva, so the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Tell me the Sanskrit names. For mode of goodness, Sattva. Mode of passion, Rajas. Mode of passion, mode of ignorance, Tamas. But beyond this is what is called Shuddha Sattva. Beyond the modes of material nature is where you can understand Krishna. Therefore, when Arjuna asks Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 14th chapter, these modes of material nature, they are acting on me, then how can I transcend these modes? And Krishna, at the very beginning of the second chapter, he says, you have to transcend the modes. Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunyo Bhava Arjuna. He says, these Traigunyas are acting on you, become Nistraigunya. Means rise above the modes of material nature. And in the 14th chapter, Krishna says, Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He says that when one performs unalloyed devotional service unto me, then one transcends the modes of material nature. So, the same point Srila Prabhupada writes, you can have the faith that is material, you can have faith that is spiritual. But faith in all conditions exists. So one of the things is, I am not a man of religion, I am a man of science and rational thinking. But please understand that that also involves faith. You just cannot simply say, I have no faith. As I mentioned earlier, if you go to the teacher to say that I don't believe, I have no faith in what you teach, then what will you learn? Even the material science, right? We'll do a few more verses and then we'll stop for questions. Okay, text 4, Shaurav Prabhu, you're up. Yajante satvika devan Yaksharaksham sirajasa Pretan bhutaganam schanye Yajante tamasa janaha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Translation: Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Next is Smita Mataji.
Thank you. Here is the fun part though. Krishna is saying if you are in either of the modes, you will worship somebody, right? The best part is men in the mode of goodness worship who? Demigods. Men in the passion? Men in the mode of ignorance? The point here is that even if you are conditioned by the modes, you still are worshipping. So if you are conditioned, because in the conditioned state there is an illusion that I am independent, I don't need to worship anybody. But Krishna is saying you will anyway worship. Why not worship me? Because it's best. So that I really, it struck me, because okay, if I'm in the mode of goodness or ignorance, I still am worshipping someone. And as I said before, ghosts, I don't believe in ghosts and demons, but you are still worshipping somebody. So more conditioned by modes of material nature is an indirect way of Krishna to worship, but it's in a different thing. One question, and I will ask the question, but we'll answer it towards the end. If I have to worship anyway in the modes of material nature, even though I am under the modes of material nature, and if I have to worship spiritual path as well, then why not stay in the modes of material nature? It's okay. I mean, I'm happy, I'm enjoying my life, ups and downs are there, it's okay. So Krishna is saying either way you will worship. So what's the point in worshipping Krishna? Is my question clear? Krishna is saying in the modes of material nature you will worship. Either you will worship demigods, human beings, or ghosts or yakshas. That's what he said. And then what's, anyway I have to worship in either of the places, might as well stay here. Who knows? That doubt will creep. Yes or yes? Avanish is kind of feeling, resonating with my question. And there is a problem. And we will come to that as we go ahead. So far so good? All right. Next verse. Ashastravihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapo janaha dambhahankara samyukta kamaraga balanvita karshayanta sharirastham bhutagramamachetasah mam chaivantah sharirastham tan vidyasura nischayan.
Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body, as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Hare Krishna. Next is Malti Mataji.
Thank you. We'll do one more and then no. So we'll do this. The point here, I think one point that needs to be clarified is that people who undergo severe austerities not recommended in the scriptures, performing out of pride and egoism. What do you mean by torturing of super soul? Right? It is mentioned there in this particular verse that who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within are known to be demons. So basically the verse says you can torture the super soul by torturing yourself. The idea here is, of course not, the answer. The idea here is, in the Sanskrit it is mentioned karshayante. Basically the super soul, the job of the super soul is to maintain jiva. Krishna or Vishnu is the maintainer, Shiva is the destroyer, and Brahma is the maintainer. Thank you. So when one out of pride and egotism refuses to be maintained by the Lord, you are just putting the super soul in a dilemma, in a spot of dilemma, and giving some sort of uneasiness to him, because I have to maintain this person, and this person is out of pride and egotism refusing to heed my particular thing. So in that sense, the super soul is quote unquote tortured, but it's not like he is feeling the pain. You are feeling the pain. Krishna is always transcendental. Think about it. If you are extremely hungry, are you feeling some pain, some discomfort, or no? Because you are having, and why is that hunger coming in? Because you have a body. Krishna doesn't have a material body, he doesn't feel the hunger. But you are the one that is, his only pain is the compassion that's there in the heart, saying that, just like a mother that feels the pain when the child refuses to eat. That is Krishna's quote unquote super soul's torture. Not that. It's just wanted to clarify that point. Because you are not eating food, Krishna is also talking next. He'll talk of food, charity, austerity, and sacrifice in the mode of goodness, in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance. So these are the next steps in these verses. So far, so good? Okay. Let's see if we have any nice points to discuss in the purport before we move on. Yeah, text 7. I think we are good. The word achetasa is mentioned in the purport. You can take a look at it, but nothing for homework. Text 7. Aharastvapi sarvasya trivido bhavati priyaha yajñastapastatadanam tesham bhedam imam shrunu.
Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 8. Mata, who is supposed to read next?
Preeti Mataji.
Excellent. Text 8. Ayuh sattva balarogya sukha priti vivardhana rasya snigdha stira hridya ahara satvika priyaha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Who is supposed to read next, Mata? Is online done or we are?
Rasa Purnima Mataji.
Rasa Purnima Mataji. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Text 9. Katvam lalavanatyushna Tikshnarukshavidahinaha Ahara rajasasyeshta Dukha shokamaya pradaha.
Foods prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and
No,
putrid.
Mata, one before. Foods that are too bitter, too sour.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in a mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease.
Thank you. Next verse, and then we can discuss. Food is always an interesting topic to discuss. Text 10. Rasapurnima Mataji, is there anybody online who's left to read? Or
I can read it.
Sorry, who?
So next, Sri Gopi Ganesha Devi Mataji, she didn't read.
Excellent. Thank you, Shanchandra. All right. Thank you. Yatayamam gatarasam Puti paryushitam chaya Uchishtam api chamedhyam Bhojanam tamasa priyam.
Hare Krishna. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So Srila Prabhupada spends quite some time on the purport. He does mention about eating foods in the different modes. And of course, for the mode of goodness, he says foods prepared with milk, yogurt, grains, fruits, ghee, those are in the mode of goodness. And much is not mentioned about, he doesn't specifically use, but other untouchable things he says you should not even in the mode of darkness, like non-vegetarian with alcohol and so on and so forth. They are just in the mode of darkness. And people who are in different modes are attracted to that kind of food, and they eat. The only thing, foods prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, foods that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, this is not applicable to prasadam. The prasadam, we have this famous prayer where it is mentioned that the prasadam is, cooked a long time, it is stale, it is still to be eaten. So there is a difference with it. Now, on a very practical level, I want to bring the story of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Initially, he was the son of Govardhan and Hiranya Majumdar. When he gave up his home and wanted to be with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, his father provided him servants and a lot of money to maintain himself. And he would invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for regularly prasadam. After some time, he thought that, the sannyas, it doesn't make sense having 2 servants and a lot of money. It doesn't mean sannyas. So then, after that, he gives up those servants and he starts begging at the temple of Lord Jagannath. And Mahaprabhu is keeping track. He's keeping tab of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, and he asks his secretary Swarup Damodar, so how is Raghunath maintaining himself? Now, well, he's at Singadwar, he's begging for prasadams. And then after some time, Mahaprabhu didn't approve of that. So what Raghunath Das Goswami, towards the extreme end, what he would do is, then he started begging for, anyway, long story short, at the very end, he would go to the cow sheds. And there the cows from Tailanga province would be there. He would, and prasadam which was offered to Lord Jagannath, which became putrid by the material standards, would be given to the cows. And when it became even so much putrid, the cows wouldn't eat it, that would be just thrown away in a refuse. Raghunath Das Goswami would actually go and collect that rice. And what he would do is he would wash the outer part of the rice that became putrid, and he would gather the grains collected like that, and that would be his daily meal. And one day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and then he asks Swarup Damodar, like, how is Raghunath maintaining himself now? And then when Swarup Damodar tells that, this is his mode of sustenance, Mahaprabhu is touched by this extreme humility and detachment and renunciation of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And he personally goes one day where Raghunath was eating prasadam. He said, "Oh, Raghunath, what are you eating? I should eat something." And then he eats from that, and he takes it. And Raghunath is, "Please, what are you doing, my lord? This food is not fit for you." And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that I have eaten the best sweet cakes and sweet meats and delicious prasadam, and none is tasting as good as this, because he was tasting the renunciation of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. From to the extent we are advanced in spiritual life, to that extent we can actually be on the platform of Raghunath Das Goswami. To that extent we are not. You have to have that kind of balance. Oh, this is the prasadam offered to the Lord. As a rule of thumb, we should never waste prasadam. But if prasadam somehow or other gets stale, and it's been in the fridge for a long time, and then it's prasadam I should eat, and then the point is that we should act according to our capacity in spiritual life. Another example of eating was Maharaj Jada Bharat, or Maharaj Bharat, who became Jada Bharat later. It is mentioned that he was a completely liberated soul. In Bhagavatam mentioned that sometimes he would get excessive quantities of foodstuff, sometimes very less, sometimes really opulent, sometimes simple, sometimes super fresh, sometimes really stale food. And Bhagavatam says he would take all this food without making any differentiation, and he would eat it like nectar. So if you are on that level, even the stale prasadam will be like nectar. So you are on that level. If not, one should act on one's life. I'm just telling you the practical examples. It's prasadam, it is stale, this is mentioned, I should eat, and then something happens to your stomach. Don't come chasing me with a stick, because I'm giving you the disclaimer. We should act on the level we are in and then do the best we can. But it is mentioned as we advance in spiritual life, completely you don't identify with the body, and you'll realize that this body is actually being maintained by Krishna, and whatever comes is just, whatever food I am eating today, which is on my plate, is because of Krishna. That's it. And then you will not question, it's too much, too little, all those things. All those things come from our tongue, our mind, which says that I need such an opulent food, or I need this for today, I need that for today, I need this. Is that helpful? I just wanted to clarify that point. There is one very insightful thing about food. I will tell you once we get past few more verses, but if not, remind me. Is that okay? Questions, comments, concerns? Any practical questions on food, because it's a pretty practical topic. Yes, Sattvat?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. You gave some interesting examples of Raghunath Das Goswami and Jad Bharat, that they would accept whatever prasadam they would get, like whether it's fresh or stale. But was it always the case that they will get only prasadam, like whether fresh or stale? Like, or sometimes people may give them things that are non-prasadam, like meat or onion, garlic, or like what would they do in such cases?
Bhagavatam doesn't mention. Raghunath Das Goswami was in Jagannath Puri. Please understand that the prasadam there was completely offered to Lord Jagannath. With Jadabharat, there is not mention of that, what kind of food or whether the variety was that. But please understand, when you are at that level and you are maintained by Krishna, why would he send you prasadam that is untouchable? Because you are being, at that time, you are completely liberated from bodily concept and you are completely dependent on Krishna, absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam, ye janaha paryupasate, tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. He says, to those who have unalloyed devotion for me, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And Krishna is saying, it is I personally do it. I personally do it. I personally take care. So if that is the case, there is no way, there is no dearth of food, there is no dearth of quality of food. I forget on that exalted levels. Even in the sannyasis of modern ISKCON, they travel all over the world and there is no guarantee of getting any prasadam, but they are not eating meat for the sake of eating meat. Because somehow or other, the Krishna is maintaining them. So Krishna will maintain personally. Is that helpful? Yeah. But having said that, I just want to qualify one thing. There are cases in scriptures where not devotees, unalloyed devotees, but very powerful mystic personalities could consume meat, but they didn't have any reactions. There is the story of Vatapi and his brother, I don't remember. You can look it up. There is the sage that actually, you can look up the story. Hare Krishna?
Agastya. Agastya, Prabhuji. Rishi is Agastya.
Thank you. So there are exceptional cases like that in scripture, but my recommendation is, from the devotee perspective, he will maintain. People have been asking me, how long you been in this country? I said, for many, many years. Because one day we went for lunch. Colleagues and office, we went for lunch. Many, many years ago. And, I had to go a part of it and then I had these restrictions. How can you survive in this country if you have all these restrictions? Krishna has maintained me. It doesn't matter. Srila Prabhupada came. When he came to India, he thought that he would have to subsist on potatoes because he thought there was no vegetarian food in America. Then the point is that if we are determined, then Krishna will make sure. If we are not determined, and if we are, then Krishna will test. Having said that, if there is an obligation, there is, person is traveling, you have to go out for team lunch or something like that, then, use appropriate social obligations versus making sure that, we don't compromise on what we eat. That's all. I'll leave it at that. Helpful? Yes, Laksh.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, regarding food, as you said, you gave example of Sri Raghunath Goswami. So there is also a pastime, I think, if I'm not wrong, Sri Madhavendra Puri, who never used to accept anything, but he used to depend on Lord's mercy. Whatever comes, he used to take it. So which, of course, it is not right to ask in that way, but just to understand it better, so which level is more higher than, like, one who's eating the prasadam, whose cows even rejecting it, or one who's completely dependent upon Lord mercy, that even whatever I get, I will eat it no matter what. I'll not look for it.
The Lord will decide. Seriously, Krishna says, I maintain. And Madhavendra Puri, the personality, was so absorbed in love of Krishna that at that level you don't even remember you are fasting. So beyond the bodily consciousness, you don't even realize that, Madhavendra Puri's story was there in Vrindavan, that Krishna personally supplied him milk. And then, how did he know that I was fasting? Well, I'm a cowherd boy and nobody fasts in my village. And some women were going by, they told me, and they got you the milk. And later, Krishna said to Madhavendra, you drink this milk, later I'll come back and I'll collect the pot. And Madhavendra drinks the milk and the boy never comes back. And in the dream, it shows that boy was Krishna. So Krishna will maintain according to, one's thing. Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, and Raghunath Das Goswami is being maintained in a certain way. And usually the Lord uses his devotees to exemplify renunciation. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's quality that Mahaprabhu exemplified was his renunciation. Sanatan Goswami was his humility, and then Rupa Goswami was his rasacharya. But Raghunath Das Goswami was extreme renunciation. So it depends. There is nothing higher or nothing lower. Raghunath Das Goswami in his own capacity is doing wonderful service to Mahaprabhu, and so is Madhavendra Puri, Srila Madhavendra Puri rather. Is that helpful? Okay. And the same Madhavendra Puri, he stole Khirchor Gopinath. He stole butter. He stole, kheer. So he can do in many ways. Krishna is wonderful. He'll do it. Text 11. So online everybody is done. So we can come back to the live studio audience.
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. Thank you, Shanchandra Prabhu. That's helpful.
Hey, Krishna Prabhuji, I've not read it.
Rupali Mat. Yes. Okay. Please do. Text 11. Afalakankshabhir yajna vididhishtoya ijyate yashtavyam eveti manaha samadhayana sasatvikaha.
Translation of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of Scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward, is of the nature of goodness.
Thank you. What are the three qualities directed by Scriptures? Matter of duty and expect no reward. Text 12. Abhisandaya tu phalam dambartam api chaivayat ijjate bharata shreshta tam yajnam vidhirajasam. Okay, then you can go. Yes. Satvat, Laksh, and Avanish, and then.
Hare Krishna. Translation. But the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of the Bharatas, you should know to be in the mood of passion.
Thank you. Text 13. Vidihinam asrishtannam Mantrahinam adakshinam Shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parichakshate.
Any sacrifice performed without regard for the direction of scripture, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of Vedic hymns and remunerations to the priest, and without faith is considered to be in the mode of ignorance.
Thank you. So these conclude sacrifices in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. Questions? Yes, Laksh. Go for it. Yes, please keep them coming.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, in previous, some time back, you told us that that person who is in mode of goodness worship demigods. So, and usually demigod worship is for some material benefit, like to get some material happiness or something. So, but in 17.11 we read that a person who does not, like three things you said, no results for the actions, he's in mode of goodness. So how, if he's worshipping demigods, he expects no result? Like in Shuddh Sattva, he should be like, he's worshipping Krishna and he's not, looking for results. He's just doing out of duty. But in 17.11 it says he worshipped demigods, he do that out of duty and expects no result. So how it is in goodness?
So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kamaistaiste hrite jnana prapadyante anya devata. Those who are impelled by desire worship other demigods or other gods. So those who are in the mode of goodness, and to an extent those who are in the mode of passion, tend to worship different kinds of demigods. So for example, those in the mode of goodness, they worship demigods. When you say worship the demigods, you perform, say for example, some sort of demigod worship, you don't expect that demigod to reward anything. It is a matter of duty that you are doing. As a Brahmana, you are in the mode of goodness, and if you are not a Vaishnava, then you worship demigods. In India, we see that so many, there are Brahmanas who are doing, now it's Kumbh Mela, big time that's going on. People are going to Kumbh Mela, they're in the mode of goodness. They are going there to Kumbh Mela as a matter of duty, not that I'm expecting something out of it. So there are devotees or people who are in the mode of goodness who worship demigods, and people who are in the mode of passion who also worship demigods for quick results. Demigods can give both. Demigods have two types of mercy. One is the mercy that is genuine, and one is the mercy that's misleading. For demons and for those who are in the mode of passion, they give misleading mercy. The passionate people, they worship demigods for the sake of getting some material prosperity. And usually, because they don't have a strong scriptural faith, they're often confused. God, man, demigod, doesn't matter. As long as I get my results from some person, that is demigod. And the definition of demigod for the passionate people are also different. But for the more in the mode of goodness, you worship the demigods as a matter of duty. Helpful? More question. Go for it. I know you're not convinced.
Thank you, Prabhuji. But Prabhuji, Prabhupada said that, like you talked about Kumbh Mela, we see a lot of saintly people there. So Prabhupada said that a lot of people, they, even if they are not looking for some material benefit in this world, they want to elevate to higher planets. So if one is a pure devotee, like Rupa Goswami say, so Shuddh Bhakt, Uttam Bhakt, so then only he will, he will be like, okay, I do not want anything, whatever, just I want to serve Lord. So that is no results actually, like somebody's and he cannot do that until and unless he's a pure devotee of Krishna.
So you are saying that to act without expectation of result is not possible unless you are a devotee of Krishna or a pure devotee of Krishna. But Krishna is saying here, in the mode of goodness, you don't. Forget that. You, for example, I'll tell you a simple thing. A person is walking on the road, right? And then that person is It's blind. And then you can only listen to the when you have to cross the street, when you press the button, for those who are unable to see, there is a sound that comes saying that now you can walk, so on and so forth. Wait, you can walk. What if is that not working? And then you are right next to that person. You help that person cross the street. Did you, after you cross the street, okay, pay me $20? You meet that person, you never even meet that person. You will not even ask their name. You will not anything. You just help that person selflessly, and you walked away. Isn't that doing something without expecting anything in this world? When you can do it to a person, complete stranger, and when it is the scriptures that says you can worship demigods, you should be able to do it. But you are in the mode of goodness. You are not getting out of this world. Because you are influenced by the mode of goodness, you are not passionate about results. You may be looking for results. It's not like 100% you are not. You are still contaminated, but the desire to get results is not as prominent as a person who is in the mode of passion. It helps. I mean, I gave you a practical example. You never ask that person anything. You just did it out of goodness of heart. So in the same way, you'll worship demigods out of goodness of the heart. That's it. It's scripturally there.
Completely not contaminated, but yes, to some extent. And the demigod worship, the person can be like without result, not even a higher planet, or not Swargalok or Brahmalok. So it can be pure form of devotion.
Or even if expecting to Brahmalok is not passionate, because these are in the mode of goodness. Heavenly planets are in the mode of goodness. Right? So that expectation is still okay, but when you say of passion, I need results on this world. I need it now. I need it for power, prestige of this world. In the demigods is like long term. Let me, like 401k. Let me invest, and when I retire, I'll get kind of. Is that okay? Thank you. Yeah, mode of goodness is still contaminating. Please, it's not like pure. All right. More questions online? We are good. All right. We'll do a few more verses. Text 13, 14. Thank you. This is 3 types of austerities Krishna mentions. Devadvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shauchamarjavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa Shariram Tapa Uchyate.
Austerity of the body consists in worship of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmanas, the spiritual master, and superiors like the father and mother, and in cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence.
Thank you. Next verse. Text 15. Anudvegakaram vakyam Satyam priyahitam chayat Swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva Vanmayam tapa uchyate.
Austerity of speech consists in the speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature.
Thank you. So I think in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes a couple of points which are really nice. One point he writes is that austerity consists in speaking words that are truthful and pleasing. Sometimes truth and pleasing might be a little bit contradictory. But he says that if you are a guru or if you are a spiritual master And if you have disciples, then it is your duty to make sure that that you correct them if there is needed. And it might not be pleasing at that point of time, but it's truthful. So that is one aspect. And he says that if somebody is not one's disciple, then one shouldn't speak, very honestly. And the second thing Srila Prabhupada makes a point is that whatever you say should be backed up by scriptures. You cannot quote, not you cannot, but your whole thought process should be based on scriptures. If you say something, it should be scripturally backed up. That is one point that he makes in the purport. Let's see what is the austerity of mind. Text 16. Manaha prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityeta tapo manasamuchyate. Akhil? Can you read?
And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind.
Thank you. Here, the word maunam is mentioned. Maunam means silence. And Srila Prabhupada actually translated it as gravity of thought. He doesn't say maunam. Literally, he doesn't use the word silence. Because you say, okay, I have to be silent, but then you have to recite Vedic literature. In the previous ones, it is said the austerity of speech consists in regularly reciting the Vedic literatures. And here it is said, maunam means silence. So it is the gravity of thought, not just actual physical silence. In fact, if we can speak as much as we want, discussing Krishna Katha, then silence is actually a pain. Think about it. Oh, Krishna says maunam, silent. Please chant Hare Krishna. No, I'll be silent. So you can see how, if you don't, that's why Srila Prabhupada says satisfaction, simplicity, and gravity. He doesn't say silence. One way to look at it is the silence of mind is a good thought, because mind brings a lot of thoughts, and telling the mind to be silent, don't give me so many thoughts because I need to focus on this thought. That is another aspect of the silence as well. But silence doesn't translate physically to the tongue. Because if your tongue can vibrate Krishna's name, because 24 hours, he said, always chant Hare Krishna 24 hours a day. That means your tongue is always vibrating. Where is the silence? So you can see that I wanted to make that fact clear. And Laksh has a question. Do you? All right. Please keep them coming, because Otherwise, I'll tell you one thing. It's a waste of your time, waste of my time to come and sit. Otherwise, I can say, okay, please read this, we'll have exams, and it'll become so impersonal. Eesh. Text 17. Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat trividham naraihi afalakankshabhir yuktai satvikam parichakshate. Mata, you want to read, please, the translation? Yes, please give the mic to Mataji.
Hare Krishna. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men, not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme, is called austerity in goodness.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, here the word used is called paraya. Paraya means transcendental. That particular threefold austerities of body, mind, and words have to be done for purpose of transcendental. And Krishna is saying, if you do that, then it's in the mode of goodness. But if you, let's see what else can be done in the mode of passion. Next verse, please, Akhil. Thank you. Satkaramana pujartham tapodambena chaivaya kriyate tadiha proktam rajasam chalamadhruvam. Online, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Vijulata Mataji. Next.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, if you do those activities for the sake of pride or for gaining respect, honor, or worship, is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor. Krishna is saying that you can do all these things, but the result might not be what you expect it to be. Text. Next text. Yes, Avanish.
Just had a question about this because we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj, he is performing penance out of, pride, like he wants to receive a kingdom greater than his father and grandfather. So like that, but because he made that worship towards Lord Vishnu Krishna, he ended up receiving that and also realizing that devotional service is higher than this penance he was performing. So I was just curious if you can give any comment. Is it still okay to, worship for material things as long as we're worshiping Krishna or Vishnu, or is it even that, there's no benefit there?
Answer is resounding yes. If you have even material desires, please worship Lord Vishnu. And I'll tell you why. A couple of points. One thing is Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter, Chaturvida bhajante mam janah sukritino arjuna artho jignasura artharti jnani cha bharatarshava. He says that 4 types of pious people approach me. Those who have desire for wealth, those who want their distress to be eliminated, those who are inquisitive, and those who are in knowledge. So he openly welcomes, please do it. And you might say, well, why Krishna? If that is the case, then I might as well go with demigods. Why even go with Krishna? And there is a reason for that. Let's look up verse number. Akhil, if you can duplicate that tab and then open 5:19:7, please. 5:19:27, my apologies. 5:19:27. Srimad Bhagavatam, sorry. SB. Haribol Yadupati. Kindly repeat after me. Satyam dishatyartitamartito nrinam naivarthado yad punararthitayataha swayam vidatte bhajatam anichchatam Ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead fulfills the material desires of a devotee who approaches him with such motives, but he does not bestow benedictions upon the devotee that will cause him to demand more benedictions again. However, the Lord willingly gives the devotee the shelter at his own lotus feet, even though such a person does not aspire for it, for that shelter satisfies all his desires. That is the Supreme Personality's special mercy. Satisfied? Yes. And I'll leave it with a joke, because you brought up the story of Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaj, when he got the Dhruva Loka, he didn't say, why did I ask only one Dhruva Loka? I should have asked for 3. One I can keep for myself, one sell it, and one rent it out. No, he was like, why did I even ask that? So you can see, just so approach Krishna. This is a special benediction. The demigods won't give you this, but Krishna will say, he'll willingly give the lotus feet, even though the person doesn't. That is his mercy. So go for it. Because we are what we are. We are at a level that we are advancing in spiritual life, and we are not born pure devotees overnight. So ask Krishna. He is a wonderful, expert personality who knows how to handle those desires of his devotees in the best possible capacity. Ideally, we shouldn't. Again, I'm going to reiterate, ideally we shouldn't. But everybody is at a stage where everybody is not at anya vilashita shunyam, jnana karma jnana avritam, anukil. Everybody is not at that level immediately. So we just, the point is never give up the lotus feet of Krishna. Oh man, my heart is so full of desires. I cannot be a pure devotee. Let me give up Krishna. Don't do that. Ask him, this is my problem. Prabhu, what are you talking? Kardama, the story of Bhagavatam. He performed austerities for 10,000 years. The Lord came and he said, what do you want? He said, I shouldn't be asking you this, but I want a wife. Lord Vishnu didn't face palm. You called me all the way for Vaikuntha for a wife. Squirrels, tigers, lions, animals have mates. You called me for that. So wonderful personality. He said, I know you wanted a wife. In 2 days' time, you will have Swayambhuva Manu will come with his beautiful daughter, Devahuti. Please accept that. And I've already arranged it. And he pacifies him with sweet words and he leaves. And the beauty is this, that even though Kardama asked for a wife, when time came, Kapila was born, Kardama was able to give up everything and go off to forest. He was never detached. Otherwise, you will get attached to the material things, but when you ask Krishna, he will give you in such a way that you will never become attached. That's the beauty of asking. So please, never at any stage of life to think that, I am not qualified or Krishna is not capable. Oh, Krishna only deals with pure devotees. I am not, so why deal? No. Please. Never throughout your life think that, there is something that Krishna cannot solve. There is Krishna cannot handle. Krishna cannot fulfill. No, he can fulfill everything. But he takes because he's independent, supreme personality of a Godhead, he is not obligated like demigods. He is not quick. He is not fast. B, he does it in a way, as I mentioned in this verse, that he also gives the shelter of his lotus feet, and that satisfies everything. Not that Dhruva got a Dhruva planet and then, all right, it is time for Dhruva planet 2. I need to perform austerities. It's like, no, why did I even bother Supreme Lord for some little Dhruva planet? What was I thinking? That was his. Bhagavatam writes it. Like, what was I thinking? Here is the personality of Godhead, whose mere darshan will sever the bondage of birth and death in a fraction of a second. Here is the personality who the millions of years the yogis spent to at least have a darshan. I got it in 6 months. What did I ask him? Dhruva, planting material. What did I do? That was Dhruva's thing. And that automatically is the effect of getting darshan of the Supreme Lord. So, all right. It's a long story, but if we get into it, then, we'll get a whole Bhagavatam class. But please, ask Lakshmi.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, as you gave also example of red light crossing a person, and also you said like in this verse also demigods, about demigods. So Prabhupada said in 7th chapter, demigods are also under material illusion. Like the pastime, like story comes of Brahma, he was attracted to his daughter Saraswati. And Shiva, Lord Shiva, for the when how Kartikeya was born, although it was Krishna himself, but so how a person like can ask for can be desireless and ask this from someone who has himself, like who has desires to material, who's under material illusion. So how we can understand?
I want to reiterate that because you're in the mode of goodness doesn't mean you're desireless. It is, you do it as a duty, you don't need it now. Try to understand this. If you worship Krishna in the mode of goodness, gradually, as long as you're in the material worlds, material desires will take a hold of you. It's impossible to escape desires completely, to that extent that the advanced devotees have. So better be in the mode of goodness because you won't slip back to animal kingdoms. Krishna says in the 14th chapter, if you die in the mode of goodness, you take birth amongst the highest planets. If you die in the mode of passion, you are staying here. If you die in the mode of ignorance, you are going down. So these acts of mode of goodness is conducive for staying properly and happy and healthy in this world. You will eat food in the mode of goodness. You will do acts which are charitable without expecting results. You don't expect results, but Krishna will give you the results. Please understand this. I gave donation without expecting nothing. 10 lifetimes later, that money will come back to me because Krishna is going to give me that money and I am planning to stay in this world. My desires are in the mode of goodness, predominantly. So, mode of goodness is still in this world. But sattva or transcendental goodness means I aspire to go back. And Krishna is saying exactly that thing. Please use this to go back. So, paraya. So do these acts for me. Then you will get out. But if you just keep doing for the sake of doing, you will be still rotating in this world. Is that helpful? Kind of, sort of. I know. All right. All right. Let's do a few more verses. Text 19, correct? Yeah. Moodagrahenatmano yad pīdāya kriyate tapaha parasyotsa dhanartham, what is that? Parasyotsa dhanartham va. Thank you. Tattamasam udahritam. Online, please.
Hare Krishna. Penance performed out of foolishness with self-torture or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, next Mata. Mata, please. You have to...
Kanika Mata ji.
All right. There we go. Next verse, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Text 20. Datavyam iti yaddanam.
Datavyam iti yaddanam.
Mute, please. Diyate nupakarine.
Diyate nupukarine.
Deshe kale cha patre cha.
Deshe kale cha patre cha.
Taddanam satvikam smritam.
Taddanam satvitam smritam. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place, and to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness.
Thank you. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, All right. Okay, well, let's continue. We'll read that. Another interesting thing. Next verse, please. Yeah, thank you. Yattu pratyupakarartham phalam uddishya va punaha diyate cha pariklishtam taddanam rajasamsmritam. Online?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can go.
Okay.
Translation. But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mood of passion. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Text 22. Adesha kale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asatkritam avajñatam tattamasam udahritam. Who's next online? Please. When you speak, you make sure that you have somebody in place to.
Malti Mataji.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mata. And
Hare Krishna.
Please go ahead.
Translation. And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons, or without proper attention and respect, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Smita Mataji next.
All right, thank you. So we'll read a purport because this will discuss a little bit. Contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. Such charity is not beneficial. Rather, sinful persons are encouraged. Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person, but without respect and without attention, that sort of charity is also said to be in the mode of darkness. So, if you have homeless people, should you actually give them money or not give them money? Because that's a big question. And you can see that money can be misused. So it's better not give. Instead, if you can give some prasadam, then that is a suitable way. Because at least they eat prasadam, then there is some spiritual gain in that. Usually, mode of goodness is that you do it for the purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness or for doing any charitable thing that kind of helps with that. It is good. But political contributions and other things are in the mode of passion, and goodness is also there. So one has to be really discriminating about charity. It is not like you give charity and you can do it. Because once in one of the home programs, a lady approached me, and she was a very pious lady, extremely pious lady, and she said that I cook food and I give it to the homeless people. I said, that's very good. I make khichdi, rice, dal, and give it to the homeless people, but they don't want this. And then they want chicken. And so I don't eat, but I'm giving them. I said, that is not something recommended in Vedic scriptures. I know you have a goodness of heart, but that is a whole thing though, because when you have the desire for pratishtha and labha and puja, saying these people are going to honor me because I'm giving them food, now that honor will be lost if I don't give them the food they want, then you can see how that power of discrimination loses, and gradually, that good intentions can actually slide down. Modes of material nature constantly are attacking. So one should be careful like that. Good? So far, so good. Any questions on charity? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu, I have one. So,
Yes.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mata.
So, Prabhuji, suppose your family needs money on, the family is not wealthy, and they need money. So, is it like charity or like it fall in what category, Prabhuji? Like they need money for like health or, a basic need. So, I wanted to know, like, is it good or like it fall in what category, Prabhuji?
How do you define family members? It's a tricky thing. It's immediate family, it is far
Yeah,
family,
immediate family, like your parents or brother or sister.
Oh yeah, please do. That is not even charity, it is your duty.
Yes.
Because we were reading the story of Avanti Brahmana, and this is a beautiful story from the 11th canto of 23rd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it is mentioned the proper stakeholders of one's wealth are the demigods, the teachers, one's family members. So they also deserve to kind of get some wealth. If you can support them, yes, definitely you should do it. So it really doesn't become a charity, but rather a duty. And that should be done in a spirit of mode of goodness, that I need to do this as a duty. I don't need to expect anything else. That's it.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Yeah. But then, of course, that's the reason I ask. If there is an indulgence in some negative behavior, then you might not want to do it as well. So it depends. That's the reason I asked, what's the purpose, who are the people, and so on and so forth. So.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah, because sometimes you are tied with the money and you really wanted to give in charity, or also you wanted to give to your family, right?
Yeah.
So that's like sometime I fall in that situation. So I always feel, okay, should I give it to my immediate family or like in the charity?
Right.
So yeah, that's. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Kanika Mataji. All right. Yes, Akhil had a question or comment.
Prabhu, I just had a question on the intent. So you did mention that you can have good intent, like the example that you gave. But sometimes you can have good intent, you don't even know the outcome of what you're doing. For an example I can think of, you're contributing to an institution wherein you somehow connect the outcome to a spiritual cause, but you have no control once you have done that. So 2 questions here. One, is it sanctioned? And 2, if it is misused, do you carry some of the results of what is being done? Or do you incur any of that?
When you say spiritual cause, how do you mean by it? Because you said that first question said that you're doing for a spiritual cause and you can't control the outcome. Can you be a little bit more?
Yes, Prabhu. I mean, I don't know if, like for example, if there is some unrest somewhere, like if you can think of Bangladesh or something like that, and in your mind you are trying to preserve something.
I see your point. I see. Should you contribute to those kind of causes?
Yes, but you don't know what the outcome of that would be.
Whether the organization that's collecting the charity is legitimate?
Somewhat.
Let's take that specific case, what you mentioned right now. If you have somebody that is actually doing it on the local basis, then you should contact that person. If, say, a person approaches, of course, raising funds usually requires the temple management's permission. And if they approve, then you can raise funds and give it to the person who is genuinely on the ground, whom you can meet. But there have been, like I was mentioning the Kumbh Mela, there were so many sites that they say that we are doing the Kumbh Mela, whatever. There were many really, illegitimate and fraudulent websites. So we do our due diligence to the extent we can, and then we give. That is point number one. Point number two is, if even doing all that and we give to people who really are misusing the money, then they have severe ramifications that they are going to go to face because of their nefarious activity. To collect money like that is a sinful activity. So you might be able to get some money in the short-term basis, but the long-term repercussions are something which are different. So you can do the best, you should do the best you can, in the best faith you can, but then that is the giver's aspect. And the receiver's aspect is also, I'm getting this money, I need to use it for the right purpose. I will use it for my sense gratification, then I'm again entangled. In the next life, I'll be also like stripped of my money when I need to. So.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, regarding charity, so Prabhupada say, so why we need to give charity? Like, suppose if there is unrest in some country, some city, Prabhupada say that Krishna handles everything. Even like he gives specifically example of elephants in Africa, they need 20 kgs of food every time. Krishna arranges for them. So why we are concerned about charity, giving to people for rather we can use that money to give to ISKCON, donate in ISKCON temple, like, or some preaching purpose. So because Krishna, we cannot help, like if somebody is dying, we cannot stop that. I mean, so rather we can try to, we are not sure that money will be used in good purpose or bad. So where we are sure, maybe we can put in that.
So Akhil's question was specifically like devotees persecuted in Bangladesh, can we help them? So it's still using for helping out devotees there. But whether the intermediate members who are collecting on behalf of those devotees, are they genuine or not, that is hard to determine. That is the point he was trying to make. Not that I am just, it's not a materialist, more of a spiritual inclined question he asked. So if, for example, if the people are getting seriously affected by Russia-Ukraine war, I don't think you will be sending money just for the sake that there is a war, and that way the whole world there is a war that's going on. So it's more of a spiritual dimension he has. Is that helpful? All right. Exactly. I just wanted to, right. And Akhil, that's correct, right? Yes. Otherwise, every householder will say there is a war in my house. Please contribute. That's a joke of a big proportions. Anyways, we'll do a few more verses and then we can. So this till this verse number 23, Krishna has analyzed, saying what is the faith, what sort of faith, in which modes people worship, which personalities, what is austerity, what is charity, what is penance in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, and what sort of tapaha or penances are there, body, mind, and words. And then he also talks about the most important thing, which is food. Of all these things, what is it that actually is closest to us in terms of our body? Food. Food is the thing that we can put in our body. Austerity of mind, penance, charity. All those things, they are external to us. They don't touch us. But food is something that we put in the body and it actually creates the consciousness. Yes or yes? When there are restrictions on food, this is exactly why it is. It is not whimsical for the sake of being whimsical. Oh, you shouldn't eat this. No, because food does have a profound effect on the body. Having said that, every time you're not get prasadam, but whatever you can get, offer it to Krishna first in the spirit of, hey, this is what you gave me, and this is a situation where I'm not at home and I have to do certain things, but internally you can always do it. So food is something Krishna is saying that is within us and that can create the modes. Everything else is external. So it's important that why you cannot eat meat and why you cannot, consume a lot of intoxication, so on and so forth, is because of this exact reason. You will be in that particular mode of what you eat or what you drink or what you consume. Is that helpful? All right. So after mentioning this, I'll come to the... After mentioning this, Krishna pivots back saying all these have to be done for a higher purpose. If you do it, even though you do it in the goodness, you will be still in the material world. But if you are linking it with the higher purpose, then all these activities will have a happy ending. Otherwise, they are temporary endings. So this is what he means. Yes, Satwat, you can...
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So you said that out of all the things that are mentioned in this chapter, like austerity, penance, and charity and food, food is what impacts us the most.
Or closest to us. Everything else impacts us. But food is something that we put in our body. It's like in us, not even close to us. So please.
But I kind of doubt that part because, I have experienced with several of my relatives and also people in the US that even though they may be eating meat, but still they are so much, soft-spoken and respectful and everything, and that often creates doubt, how are they acting so good in spite of eating meat? And I kind of think that maybe speech is what impacts us more. And I think the Christians will also agree that what goes inside the body, that does not pollute us, but rather what comes outside the mouth, that pollutes us more. What are your thoughts on this?
So you're saying the words is something that is more impactful than food. That's what you're saying. Well, food is one sense an austerity and words are also an austerity. Krishna is saying it's austerity of speech, speaking pleasing words. What if you don't have the soft spoken speech but you are a devotee versus you have a soft spoken speech but you are not a devotee? Which is better?
Well, I guess with regards to preaching, or more people will gravitate towards that person who is soft-spoken but not a devotee, right?
But then what are you preaching if you are not a devotee? That's the point. So I agree that you have both. Ideally is both, but having devotion to Krishna will make your speech softer over the period of time. But if you don't have devotion, then your soft-spoken speech actually can change very drastically when you are faced with calamities and uncertainties of life. Those who are, you mentioned those who eat meat and are soft-spoken, but did you ever insult them and see if they're still soft-spoken, or that tendency to destroy you comes out? Because soft-spokenness not necessarily is a mirror of heart, but is a practice of speech that is practiced and it is detached from that. If you are soft-spoken all the time, irrespective of what is the condition, then yes, there is some power to it. But usually it is not the case. But a devotee who is harsh, but who is a devotee, over a period of time, Krishna is saying I should speak softly. I just offended those people by eating harshly. So you'll feel that regret, and then because you have faith in Krishna's words, your speech will automatically become soft over a period of time. But for those, and other way around, it's not possible. That's the point I'm trying to make. And so, and it is not like, oh my God, I ate prasad, not prasadam, and I ate outside once and then it's going to... That's not true either. In the case of emergency, people, have to eat. But if you make a emergency the routine, then it's a problem. oh my God, I don't have time every day to make prasadam, and I have to. Then that is on you rather than on Krishna. Anyways, is that helpful? To an extent.
So, from what I understand, like basically, having devotion to Krishna is like more important, and all these qualities like gradually develop because of that. And regarding soft-spokenness, like I should be like more careful and analytical that it may be just a reflection of mine. Like that may not be true when the person is in extreme situations, like being insulted. Yeah.
You're insulted, you're humiliated, you're just criticized, or just if you're speaking something soft-spoken person, you harshly interrupt that person. Now I want to see if you are still soft-spoken. So you can see soft-spokenness can be a cultural thing, can be a personality thing. It not necessarily reflects what's there in the heart. Sometimes you have to speak soft to hide what is there in your heart. So it depends. It depends. It's a good quality to have, don't get me wrong. Absolutely, it's a good quality to have. A salesman has to be soft-spoken, yes or yes? Otherwise, he'll not sell you a thing. You go to the car salesperson. Yeah, what's up, guy? Come. I want to buy a car. Really? Look at you. I don't think you can buy this car. And if you are harsh like that, who will come and talk? But you're like, oh my God, you just done the most sweetest thing. You know? So the point is, a salesperson will have that soft speech, not necessarily it implies austerity of speech. Is that helpful? Okay, let's complete the next 5 verses and then I'll take more questions. Text 23. And Satwat is tolerating the austerity of legs for sitting in this class. Thank you, Satwat. Om Tat Sad iti nirdesho Brahmanas trividas smritaha Brahmanastena vedascha Yajñascha vihita pura. Is everybody done online or?
Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, go ahead, Mata. Smita, and then please tell who's the next person after you.
Yes, Prabhu. From the beginning of creation, the 3 words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These 3 symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Next up is Malti Mataji. Preeti Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Then Krishna will say what is Om, what is Tat, and what is Sat. Yeah, next verse, please. Tasmadomityudahritya Yajñadanatapakriya Pravartante vidhanokta Satatam brahmavadinam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Translation. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. Next person is Rasa Purnima Mataji.
Thank you. So here Krishna is saying, link up, he is using yajna, dana, tapa, kriya, link it with Om. Do it for the Supreme, not for this world. And he is now trying to kind of link it up, and you can see the next few verses, they talk about that. And the last verse describes what happens if you don't. Next verse, please. Kindly repeat after me. Tad ityanabhisandhaya Phalam yajna tapakriya Dana kriyascha vivida Kriyante mokshakankshibhihi. Asa Purnima Mataji.
Yeah. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement.
Thank you, Mata. Who else? Who do you think should read next? You can pick anyone who hasn't read.
Okay. Smita Mataji. She's there.
Right. So let's do tat. Let's do tat. You go back to that verse, please. So here Krishna is saying you should do it. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. That should be the goal of one's work. Usually, if you don't have the knowledge, then you will do it not for Krishna but for something else. Next verse. Text. Okay. Sadbhave sadhu bhave cha Saddityetat prayujyate Prashaste karmani tatha Sashabda parthayujyate Yajne tapasi dane cha Sthiti sad iti chochyate Karma chaiva tadarthiyam Saddityeva bhidiyate.
The absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O son of Pritha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Lata Mataji.
All right. Text 28. Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam cha yad asad ityuchyate partha na cha tat pretyano iha.
Anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme, O son of Pritha, is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless both in this life and the next. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Akhil, if you can do the purport, the last paragraph of the purport. Thank you. In the conditional state, people are attracted to worshipping demigods, ghosts, or yakshas like Kuvera. The mode of goodness is better than the modes of passion and ignorance, but one who takes directly to Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all the three modes of material nature. Although there is a process of gradual elevation, if one, by the association of pure devotees, takes directly to Krishna consciousness, that is the best way. And that is recommended in this chapter. To achieve success in this way, one must find a proper spiritual master and receiving training under his direction. Then one can achieve faith in the Supreme. When that faith matures in course of time, it is called love of Godhead. This love is the ultimate goal of all living entities. One should therefore take to Krishna consciousness directly. That is the message of the 17th chapter. Those ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 17th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the divisions of faith. So the last few verses, Krishna is saying, Ashraddhaya, the last verse he says, without having the faith in Supreme, then doing all these things is not permanent. It is neither stable nor permanent. Any questions, any comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, like previously you told us about Maunam, like to be silent. So, Prabhupada gives, I think, example of Ambarish Maharaj who indulges all senses in for Krishna. But also we read about Bilva Mangala Thakur, who, you know, the pastime he did so that he can, his senses, his eyes are not engaged in seeing the material things. But as a matter of fact, like that could have been used to see the deities. So he's an exalted personality. So how we can understand this pastime?
Again, Krishna shows through his devotees how many different ways it can be. His voluntarily not having the eyes didn't impede him from Krishna consciousness. Any one or all senses of the person can be engaged in Krishna consciousness, and that will achieve perfection. For example, right now we should just engage our tongue in Krishna consciousness. Ataha Sri Krishna namadi na bhavet grahyam indriyai sevonmukehi jivhadau svayam eva spuratyada, which means that you engage your tongue in Krishna for now, and somehow or other that will purify everything else. And only one tongue engaged in service of Krishna can purify. So in one sense, yes, you can engage all the senses. If you don't have all the senses, for some reason or other, you're deprived of one of the senses, there's still no loss. And these acts all happen under will of Krishna, so don't worry about it. And Bilvamangal Thakur's contribution was so immense and intense. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would read those very shlokas. The Supreme Lord would really relish. What great personality he must be that the Supreme Lord came back to relish his own writings in the form of a devotee. In fact, those are the two books, Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita. He excavated. Mahaprabhu brought those books to light. And that's there throughout the world right now. So, other questions, comments? We have announced the dates of the classes. We have 2 more classes. 18th chapter has 78 verses, which means we'll split up into 39 and 39. It gives the summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. And then after that, we'll have exam in March sometime. Will be ample time for you to study. Please take your time to study, maybe 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day if you can read, make notes. That should be good enough to get you through the exam. And exam will be announced and there will be no change to the dates. Please don't ask for makeup. We might not be able to do it. So my request to you is, we'll give a date that is suitable to all, but make yourself available for that exam. Is that okay? All right, online, any comments, questions, concerns? Prabhu,
Prabhu. Prabhuji, this is Shamsundas. This is again with the food. Prabhuji, certain people, they will not eat on, meat on certain days like Saturdays, Thursdays, Mondays. Okay. So how we can encourage them, Prabhu? Or we can leave them so that they will, eventually they will come to mode of goodness? Or please guide me, Prabhu.
It's a very individual case, but usually prasadam does the trick. If you feed them enough prasadam, then they will not be attracted. That is one point. Second thing is also, we recognize, we praise that personality, saying, oh my God, you are such a wonderful person. You're not eating meat on Thursdays and Saturdays. That's amazing. So a combination of praise and prasadam might help. Usually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Smita Mataji, I see your hand is raised.
Yes, Prabhu. Quick question is that, so even if we are prasadam, but then how much to eat that prasadam? Is there any indication on that, if that becomes tamasic or that is still sattvic food, Prabhu?
So, Mataji, if your question is, can you please repeat? I couldn't get it.
So the question is that, okay, one eats sattvic food, definitely which is what is recommended, are shastric injunctions, but what if that sattvic food is eaten in a huge quantity and not, like it's not doing good to the person, but then we can keep encouraging, or can we keep encouraging the person to keep on eating because it is sattvic food, but maybe it's not doing too good health wise to that person?
Can you please put up nectar of instruction? I think I don't remember the purport. Nectar of instruction. Thank you. It should be there. That's the one. And you can do advanced view. Okay, let's go text one. Text one. I think it should be there in text one. Control F, please, and palatable. PALA, palatable. Generally, as far as the urges of the tongue, we all experience that the tongue wants to eat palatable dishes. Generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice. Can you come down a little bit, please? I think, Mataji, I'll look it up, but Srila Prabhupada essentially writes is that just in the name of prasadam, you don't just eat luxurious food. I mean, high-fat food, if you eat, it's prasadam, you'll still have the detrimental results. I should look up where it is. I should look up. I'll look it up, Mata. I'll look it up, Smita Mataji, and I'll let you know. But it's there in Nectar of Instruction if you really want to. And Srila Prabhupada himself says there that one should not, it's prasadam, so I can eat anything I want. Essentially, at the core of it is that this is what Krishna wants and I should supply him. Yes, thank you. Mataji is there. Smita Mataji, can you read that, please?
Yes, Prabhu. However, if one accepts prasad only because of its palatable taste and thus eats too much, he also falls prey to trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue.
Helpful?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhuji, I have one more question regarding the exam, but we will finish up the questions round, and if you can give some...
There is nothing. Please ask the question.
So, Prabhuji, what to expect in the exam? In what is the format of the exam? This will be my first time, Prabhuji, with you giving the exam. We just wanted to know more on how to study.
So Mataji, the exam will be essays, multiple choice questions, fill in the blanks. If you read the text and the purports, the questions will be from there. It should not be that difficult, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu.
All right. Any other?
Harish Prabhu, Smita Mataji is from our Bhakti Ruksha. I will guide her, Prabhuji. Last time we wrote, right? I will tell the pattern. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Anything else? All right. If there is nothing else, I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for attending. And Vancha Kalpatarobi Yascha Kripa Sindhubhya Chapatnanam Pavabhyo
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.